Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Warlock here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at my top 10 favorite Warlock Exotics in Destiny 2. And of course, as always, this is a completely subjective list based on the opinion of myself and my buddy Zoomzy, who's my kind of PvP expert. If you want to check him out, he made a lot of the gameplay you see from PvP, so check out link to his Twitch in the description down below. But again, subjective, so keep that in mind. I use these things in a very specific way. You may use your exotics in another way. And of course, if you wanted to just skip right to the top 10 where I talk about the different exotics and the top 10 exotics, you can skip to the time on screen right now, but videos like this wouldn't be possible without your support. So if you've ever watched my videos, you've seen my spreadsheets for the weapons, the exotic armors, for all the different modes, and you know what I do and you like what I do, please consider checking out my Patreon. Without your support, I'm probably gonna have to stop doing these kinds of spreadsheets, as they often take around 15 to 20 hours to make these kind of videos because of the spreadsheets. And as I've always said, if 0.01% of you just give $10 a month, I will be able to make minimum wage, and that's all I really care about, so that I can do the things that I want to do, live the dream job, and produce the content that you guys like to see. And please let me know what kind of rewards from Patreon you actually want to see, because I have noticed that I have no idea what you guys want for the Patreon rewards, so please let me know. And of course, throughout this video, you'll be seeing pictures of a spreadsheet. This is fully public for you guys to use, as well as all of my spreadsheets and docs. All you have to do is head over to my Discord server, linked in the description down below. On that server, it's going to be a channel called #SpreadsheetsDocs, and you'll find a link to all of my spreadsheets and all the docs that I make for you guys. Right, so let's go ahead and get started. Apotheosis Veil, you get ability energy when you pop your super. Not really something that I need that much. I have another world, highlights priority targets, which is good for PvP, and a very slight amount of ability regeneration, but really not enough. Felwinter's Helm weakens and disorients enemies around you whenever you get a charged melee kill or finisher, which is just a little too dangerous, and again, it's from your body, so those ranged melees are not going to help. The Stag, which depends on being critically wounded or dying to get more rift energy or help your teammate revive you, is not really great in endgame because there's a timer on your revive. Verity's Brow, you get more grenade energy for you and your team whenever you get energy weapon kills, which is easy to do and nice to have, but it is a very small amount. Aeon Soul, do I need to say more? The Claws of Ahamkara get an additional melee charge. Generally, I don't really like an additional charge or whatever, but considering the Attunement of Sky for the Warlock is one of the best subclasses in Crucible right now with their Celestial Fire ranged melee, getting an extra melee with overcharged charging is actually a decent option. Very close to being in the top 10. Getaway Artist, you get an Arc Soul auto turret on your shoulder, which can be refreshed with the Arc Soul from the Rift. However, then you're stuck to using one of the worst subclasses in the game. And even if you're not using that worst subclass, oftentimes using a grenade is just a greater option. The Sunbracer, one of the more fun exotics in the game, allowing you to have infinite solar grenades for a short amount of time after getting a charged melee kill, depends on melee, depends on getting kills, and is a bit finicky in PvP. Winter's Guile, giving you more melee damage after melee kills, is not really dependable in high level play and is not crazy stacked broken as it used to be. Chromatic Fire, more of a gimmick kind of thing, allowing you to get Dragonfly on any of your kinetic weapons, which is not possible outside of Ace of Spades. And again, Dragonfly is really not that helpful. In higher level play, that does maybe 5% of an enemy's health. The Sanguine Alchemy used to be kind of low-key overpowered, kind of like the One-Eyed Mask, allowing you to see enemies through walls in your rift. However, now it just pauses the rift's duration whenever you get weapon kills in it, and this does not count for the well. Why would I want this? This one needs an extreme overhaul. Screw that exotic. Oh, look at it! Oh, my cat is sleeping on top of my weights, and it is adorable. Starfire Protocol, there's an interesting loop with an extra fusion grenade for more rift energy, and then that rift empowerment then gives you fusion grenade, but then you're stuck to an empowering rift. Honestly, the best bit about this is that you can use this with Attunement of Grace, getting double healing grenades, which is strong. Storm Dancer's Brace, giving you one of the lowest damage supers in the game. A little bit more damage, it's still low damage. Vespers of Radius, allowing you to get more rift energy just by being near enemies. A lot better in my opinion than the Stag, but still, rifts are not that critically important. If you're using Attunement of Grace, you're getting a lot of rift energy back from your teammates. Wings of Sacred Dawn, allowing you to pull off some crazy trick shots while having damage resistance, increased flinch resistance, and better accuracy in the air, but it's just not the best. But it was close. And finally, Promethean Spur. You create a lot of healing and empowering rifts all over the battlefield from your kills, which helps your team, but all of the enemies are already dead, so what's the purpose? First up, for the honorable mention, we have Astrocyte Verse, an exotic that I think is dangerously underrated by a lot of people because it solves all of the issues with blink, allowing you to blink further, more frequently, weapons ready quickly out of blink, and the radar remains up, solving literally all the problems that we had with it in D1, and it was extremely common, blinking that is, in D1. So if you liked blink in D1, or you want to change your gameplay or go for those high skill ceiling kind of exotics, Astrocyte Verse can definitely do that. Coming up at number 10, we have the Geomag Stabilizers, allowing one of the more powerful supers in the game to last twice as long and for you to get it a little bit quicker. In my opinion, the best arc subclass for the Warlocks is going to be that attunement of control with the Chaos Reach super on top of all the beautiful stuff in that subclass. However, my big issue with this exotic, even though it is incredibly powerful and I highly recommend it as number 10, is the fact that I don't really need that much of a longer super, because most of the time I'm using that super on killing majors, killing champions, and elites, and I very infrequently use it on a boss. However, it can be used, this specific exotic especially, on doing some pretty considerable boss damage, and I would highly recommend it for that. Moving on to number 9, we have the Skull of Dhram Kara. Most people know this exotic. It's all about getting those Nova Bomb kills to give you more Nova Bomb energy, which obviously getting more Nova Bombs is still very powerful in endgame and really fun in everything else. The issue being is that you have to get those kills and you have to survive after using your super, otherwise you don't get that super energy back. But if you do, this can be extremely powerful all the way up to endgame content. However, I would not say Grandmasters are going to be very common with it, but definitely in the Master Nightfalls for sure. Moving on to number 8 in this top 10 countdown, we have Ophidian Aspect, making it so your weapons ready and reload quickly, kind of like quick draw and faster loading, allowing you to use other perks on your armor if you need it, and your melee range is extended on top of the fact that Warlocks already have the greatest melee range, making this exotic a great neutral game option. If you don't know what to use, this is an excellent option. And to be honest, there's really not much to say about it. This exotic makes sense. You guys know how to use it. Use it. Up at number 7, we have Nezarec Sin, allowing your void damage kills to increase your ability energy recharge rate, which means you don't have to be using a void-based subclass, meaning you can use Gnawing Hunger in the Crucible or even Recluse or Gnawing Hunger in PvE. However, obviously, if you stack up more void, allows you to get more out of it. This is just a great exotic because you just have to get void-based kills, and you can get a lot of void-based kills in a lot of different ways. So in a nutshell, it's easy to get benefit from this, and the benefit is actually really nice. Coming up at number 6, we have the Karnstein Armlets, one of the most powerful PvP exotics in the game, and honestly, in my opinion, a little underrated. If you've never heard of it, melee kills instantly restore about half of your health and continue to restore health for 8 seconds after that. Now, I'm not joking about that. You get 8 seconds of Rift level healing after getting a melee kill, allowing you to pretty much gain your entire health back right after getting a melee kill. You fight multiple people at the same time just by continually meleeing them, and then if you can get some other melee based bonuses, doing even more on top of that. This exotic, in my opinion, should be used a whole lot more in PvP. And honestly, in PvE, allows you to survive certain encounters, however, is melee based and is dangerous. Coming up at number 5 in this top 10 countdown, we have the Transversive Steps, probably one of the better overall exotics in the game, useful for both PvE and PvP, allowing you to move faster, which means you can chase targets easier, get through strikes faster, you get to objectives faster, and of course, escape combat faster, and just in general, going faster just feels better. On top of that, while sprinting, after a short time, you auto-load the weapon in your hand, which is really powerful, and you know me, I absolutely adore auto-loading in PvE, which makes it so a lot of weapons, you don't need to reload, and if you're moving fast through certain activities, it just really helps out a lot. Moving on to number 4 in this top 10 countdown, the Crown of Tempest. Used to be at my number 1 choice. It hasn't really gone down as far as its effectiveness, but moreover so, we found more effectiveness in other exotics and of course in other subclasses, so just in general across the board, it's just become slightly less used. However, the Crown of Tempest is an incredibly built exotic, rewarding the proper type of gameplay archetype of getting kills with abilities, gives you more ability energy regeneration, and of course your super also gives you that regeneration. I just love it for both modes. Using it with Arc Web in PvP, even though Arc Web got pretty hard nerfed, is still nice to see, and of course in PvE, even with attunement of control, where it does not actually extend the duration of control, it's still really nice to have, considering that's the best PvE super for Arc Warlocks. For the most part, people know and love this exotic. It's pretty much the best Arc Warlock exotic in the game because it can be done and used in so many different ways. Coming up at number 3 in this top 10 countdown, we have the Lunafaction Boots, which are great for basically one reason. It allows your rifts and your wells to reload your weapons as fast as physically possible. And when you're doing DPS in a raid or certain bosses that you need DPS on, having the fastest possible reload is going to be the best possible DPS you can have, which is very important. However, outside of that, I don't find much use. However, I say however a lot, every exotic and every specific type of weapon in this game has to have a purpose, and Lunafaction Boots is pretty much the dominant for raids. There is no other exotic that I would rather use than Lunafaction when you are a Warlock, unless there's obviously another Lunafaction WoW user. And that's why it deserves such a high rating in PvE, because it is pretty much the go-to choice for that entire section of activity. And the last note I'll say about it is the thing that most people don't know about it is that empowering rifts and subsequently your wells increase the weapon's effective range, which actually doubles the range. So using hand cannons at pulse rifle range or SMGs at like 110 hand cannon range is going to be really surprising, but a lot of fun. Coming up at number 2 in this top 10 countdown, something that you may not realize, the Controverse Hold, which is one of the best PvE exotics in the game. Now this used to be a PvP destruction hound, allowing you to use your handheld supernovas, getting almost your entire grenade back from it, resisting a ridiculous amount of damage. It has been nerfed on top of the supernova also being nerfed. However, using this to charge your, let's say, a 2-minute of chaos grenades, allowing them to do more damage, and then getting that grenade energy back is really powerful for PvE. Now, I made a build guide for the Great Void Warlock build using this particular exotic, and I'd highly recommend you check it out, because this thing is actually really powerful and definitely Grandmaster worthy, which is not something you hear from me very often. So TLDR, this thing does a lot more damage because you have to charge your grenade, and you also get a lot of grenade energy back, which is really strong and really useful to have. And it also is dependent on hits and not kills, meaning it's a lot more endgame worthy. And finally, coming up at number 1, my favorite Warlock exotic in any game is going to be Phoenix Protocol. Now this exotic has gone from being number 1 to honorable mention to number 1 back and forth, and I've been back and forth with this exotic. However, this is my literal number 1 only choice that I use for Grandmasters outside of Controverse Hold, because it's so effective at doing what it needs to do. Now all it really does is make it so your kills and assists you make while standing in your Well of Radiance return some super energy. However, in Master and Grandmaster Nightfalls, I often find myself with 50 to 75% of my super filled by the time my well ends. And that is really strong. If you've ever been in a well in a Master Nightfall, you feel unkillable. And in a lot of scenarios, being unkillable is very helpful. Now, the reason I've been so back and forth with this particular exotic is because I often only use this in Grandmaster Nightfalls, and I don't use it that much outside of it because it's not very interesting. It's very useful, but it's kind of boring. However, its usefulness cannot be understated, and in my opinion, at a 9 out of 10, it definitely deserves that kind of score, because its effectiveness and its ability to get your wells more often, and the need for the well is just so strong in high-level Nightfalls. It just deserves that number 1 position. And that's gonna be pretty much it. That is the end of the top 10. Let me know in the comments down below what your top 3 are. If you wanna go for 10, go for it, but I just wanna hear about your top 3, and of course, tell me why. And tell me how they perform in high-level Master and Grandmaster Nightfalls, high-level competitive and trials, and just tell me the best of what these things can offer, because I'm obviously human. I'm gonna miss a lot of things. You guys gotta let me know what's good in the community. But of course, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that's like, I can't believe this idiot doesn't think Promethean Spur is good. This thing basically makes the battlefield an unkillable monster. Dude, you call me an idiot, I'm gonna have to dunk on you in the comment, pull up my research, give you some links, make a verbose paragraph about how I'm right and you're wrong. You never want to get dunked on in the comments. Ah, that sucks, man. I legit like laugh every time I do it, because that's the only way you can handle comments like that. You can't take them so personally, because it's really gonna drag you down. So I've taken a new approach to it. I'm in the fight me mode. Let's do this. I'm excited. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Of course, make sure you check out that Patreon link in the description down below. Without your support, I'm probably gonna have to stop doing these spreadsheets soon, because they take a lot of time out of the day I could be using on like making money. But yeah, my name's Warlock Exotic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.